안녕하세요. 야라님, 안녕하세요. 박혜진 러버님, 안녕하세요. 안녕하세요. 저는 잘 지내요. I'm doing well. It was Thanksgiving here yesterday, so I ate so much last night. I'm still full. Can you hear me well? 잘 들려요? 안녕하세요. 개원아 안녕. Diamond Girl 누구예요? 여러분, if I don't know how to say your name, can you tell me how to pronounce your name? 해가 났어요. 안녕하세요. 여기 아침 9시, 9 a.m. 이에요. I'm on the East Coast of the US. 저는 미국 동부에 있어요. 야라님, 맞아요? Does anyone want to tell me how to say your name? So then I can call you properly? 이름 말해주세요. 이름. 락사님. 여러분 어디예요? Where are you? Where are you watching this from? 어디서 보고 있어요? 한국 이름 뭐예요? 커스님. 한국 이름 뭐예요? 렉사? Not 락사, 렉사? NC North Carolina? 재성님. 인도네시아? 산티님? 안녕하세요, 헬레나 씨. Korean friend made the name. 친구가 만들었어요. 좋아요. 터키. 안녕하세요. 네리사님, 인도네시아. 요르단에서 보고 계시고 all over the world. 이란. 네. 제이납님 맞아요. How do I pronounce your name? I'm always talking to you on Instagram, but I don't know how to pronounce name. 이름 어떻게 발음해요? 안녕하세요, 베트남. 베트남에서 보고 계세요. 볼린 이름이에요? Is that a name or city or country? 볼린 어디지? I'm checking the chat. 인도네시아. 인도네시아 분들이 많이 있어요. There are a lot of people watching from Indonesia right now. 필리핀. 렉사님은 필리핀. 오케이. 제이나브님. Can you write that in 한글? 한글로 써주실 수 있어요? 프랑스 볼린 네 볼린 프랑스어 필리핀에서 제이신스님 필리핀 분들도 많아요. In Korean there's no Z. 그러면 그냥 제이나브님 인도에서 안녕하세요. 여러분 질문이 진짜 많아요. There are a lot of questions. 산티님 네. So I wrote down all your questions. I'll show you what it's like right now. 여기에. So I wrote down all your questions. Ooh! And there are like 2 pages of questions. 제인압. Okay. So there are 2 pages of questions, which we won't be able to cover all, but this is what I thought. There are questions that are wonderful to make a video either on YouTube or Instagram. 안녕하세요. 인도에서 사만비타. 네, 질문이 되게 많아요. 그래서 let's see. I highlighted the ones that are most popular and also the ones that I already have the video on YouTube. So once I'm done with live, I will link all those videos that I already have in the description. 감사합니다. I hope so too. 안녕하세요. 네, 많아요. A lot of questions. Hardworking students. 주 안녕. 친구예요. My friend. My friends and families are here. 한국에서 보고 있어요. She's my friend, my best friend. Hi. 베스트 프렌드가 다 왔어요. All my best friends are here. 인디아. 인도분, 인도네시아 분, 필리핀 분들이 많이 있어요. 지금 there are a lot of people from India, Indonesia, and the Philippines right now. So, okay, let me tell you a plan I made. So today I'll just talk about 안녕하세요. 이탈리아 분이에요. 반갑습니다. 아나 씨. 아니요. 목소리 이상해요. Did I catch a cold? No, I didn't. Do I sound nasal? It's because it's morning. 아침이에요. That will be Nicole. 반가워요. So I'll go over the questions that are commonly asked, and I'll also make video about certain questions that you gave me. 저는 미국에 살아요. 미국 동부, East Coast. US East Coast. 아침이에요. It's morning. So if my voice sounds weird, it's because I haven't been talking since I woke up. That's why. 저녁 시간이에요. Have good dinner. I'll also save today's live afterwards. How many of you are beginners? 한국에? I have a husband here. I can't abandon him. So I want to go to Korea to see my family and friends, but not that I will go back to live there. Beginner, 네. Beginner. Advanced beginner. Beginner. Can you all read 한글? 한글 공부했어요? Almost intermediate, okay. 중간에 있어요, in the middle. 한글, yes, you can read. A little bit. Yes, I can. A little. 좋아요. There were questions asking, how can I be good at Korean? How can I practice speaking? Where do I start when I learn Korean? 세종 한국어 7, 네. 저는 아직 밥 안 먹었어요. I haven't had breakfast yet. I'll eat after this. So I will definitely say start with 한글. 한글 배우세요. 쌤 따뜻한 사람이더라. 감사합니다. Do not Romanize Korean. No. 절대 하지 마세요. No. Korean and Roman alphabets are not compatible at all. So do not Romanize it. Learn Hangul. At first, you feel like, oh, Roman alphabets are helping me understand or remember the words. No, you will remember the Roman alphabets, not Korean pronunciation. So don't do that. Start with Hangul. And people who've already learned Hangul will tell you it's not that difficult, although there are a lot of pronunciation exceptions and stuff. So learn Hangul. And then where do you start? I will say learn this present tense, right? When I introduce any phrases on Instagram, I always introduce them in this form, so start there. A lot of beginners asked, how can I be good at Korean? For those of you who have been studying Korean, brownie, he's eating brownie, who've been studying Korean, can you share your tips too while I'm talking? Tell the fellow beginners what to do first. How did you learn Korean? 어떻게 한국어 공부했어요? 저는 여러분 한국 드라마, 한국 variety shows 좋아요. If you like Korean dramas and shows, definitely watch them. If you like songs, listen to them too. But I do feel like I can't multitask. First time live, I'm like reading and I can't talk at the same time. K-pop lyrics in Hangul, that's a good idea. Talk to me in Korean, 맞아요. They have lots of resources for any levels. But yeah, if you're a beginner, definitely. They have all kinds of lessons. 한국어 음악, Korean music, 한국 음악. Yeah, if you listen to Korean songs, look at the Hangul lyrics, not just Romanized ones, variety shows. YouTube videos, K-pop. Yeah, variety shows put the bubbles and subtitles all over, so you will see what they are saying as well. So it's easy to follow. Try follow the songs. A lot of Talk to Me Korean, yes. Live classes. Yeah, so I would definitely say watch Korean variety shows. And I do like the return of Superman. 슈퍼맨이 돌아왔다. 아는 사람 알아요? Do you know? Best shows? Okay. 슈퍼맨이 돌아왔다. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. 알아요? It's with the kids. So it's easier to understand what they are saying. It's short phrases. So especially if you're a beginner, I think there are more phrases that you can understand compared to other variety shows with all adults. 네, I will. And Running Man, 네, 저는 Running Man 팬이에요. I'm a fan of Running Man. I'm probably one of a few Korean people who've watched all the episodes of Running Man. Kim Jong-kook was my celeb crush for my entire 20s. So that was my motivation to watch it. But Running Man is fun because once you enjoy the show, they do a lot of similar things, playing games, doing missions. So you'll hear similar words in there. And because they're so close to each other, it's like friends talking. It's not scripted like dramas, but you can also see age difference. 오빠, 누나, 형, 언니, and then 동생, younger siblings. So you can see the difference in honorifics or sentence endings among the members. So I do recommend, especially their opening talk. You know, when they just started the show. 안녕하세요, 조라님, 조한님, if it's French. 어떻게 말해요? How do I pronounce your name? 1박 2일 재밌어요. 맞아요. 1박 2일 is cool also because you can see different sides of Korea as well. They travel within Korea, so that's another show you can watch. 아는 형님, somebody mentioned earlier, knowing bros, right? Because it's all about talking. That show is good too. 여러분, I can't multitask. I'm like reading and I can't talk, so pardon me. So knowing bros, because it's heavily on the talk, you can hear a lot of talking rather than action or doing missions and stuff. So knowing bros good too. Vlog? I would say watch vlogs. I don't know specific vlogs to introduce to you, but I guess just choose what your hobby is. If you like cooking, watch Korean cooking shows. Maybe find the ones that have English subtitles, but watch Korean cooking channels. If you like traveling, watch Korean traveling YouTube channels. So I would say do your hobby in Korean. You work out, you do home training, home too, then you work out with Korean YouTubers. If you do yoga, do it with Korean yoga channels. Let me go through your so yeah, and then dramas. Okay, this year I think my favorite was 사이코지만 괜찮아. 달려라 방탄. 맞아요. If you are an army or you're a BTS fan, oh, if you like idol groups, follow their own, vlog or channels and watch their videos because they're like friends with each other. You'll also hear this casual form of Korean as well. 아는 형님, yes, knowing bros, they only talk in 반말, non-polite. So that's a wonderful source. Because if you take Korean classes, in classes we always speak in polite form, even us teachers do, and you start with polite forms with your classmates. So it's really hard for you to switch to 반말, non-polite. And 아는 형님, knowing bros, seems to help to get more exposure to non-polite forms. 서울 SMG has a really good channel. Typing Korean. Post you on your social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat in Korean. And if you have Korean friend, text them in Korean. If not, post in Korean. So then you are on a daily basis typing in Korean. And when you're commenting on my Instagram or YouTube, comment in Korean. So those are the resources. Where do we start? Again, a lot of questions were about the tense, Korean tenses, and the particle, of course, 은는 이가. I think there were like 6, 7 different people who asked about 은는 이가. KBS News Channel. 오, 저도 안 봐요. I don't even watch news anymore. Listening practice. I'm glad to hear that. I'll make more listening videos. Actually, after today's live, I'm gonna set up a Christmas tree. 크리스마스 트리 세울 거예요. And then I'll make a listening kind of vlog with that as well. You didn't? 안녕하세요. Yeah, if you're up for news and documentary, that's another good source, especially if you're intermediate and higher than that. Yeah, news might be too difficult for beginners or low intermediate learners, definitely. Wait until you're a little more advanced. So, if I don't cover your questions today, I'm either making a video about it or we'll come back to your comment. 서예진 is a witch. Alright, did you watch 사이코지만 괜찮아? 아리랑 채널. The drama, It's Okay to Not Be Okay. That was my favorite this year. She was a witch. She was my favorite character though. Vocabulary too. Vocabularies. 이태원 클래스 재밌었어요. It was fun, right? When it comes to vocabulary, I know unless you are taking a class and you have vocab quizzes and everything, it's hard, right? To like force yourself to memorize something. I'll say one a day or one every other day. Just continue, but don't be like, oh, all right, today I'm gonna sit and memorize 20 different vocabulary. Don't do that. And when I learned English, which is too long ago, I guess, when I first started learning English, if I'm learning a new word, I used to make sentences. You don't just memorize the vocabulary separately, but put it in the context. So again, these days you have YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, write something in Korean. You know, you guys follow a lot of Korean Instagram channels or you subscribe to Korean YouTube channels. Comment underneath in Korean. Don't be afraid to make any mistakes. Teachers are used to mistakes. We are made to learn with your mistakes. And those people are happier than anything to see any comments in Korean, to see that you are using Korean. So use that. Write sentences in Korean. Use those resources. Vocabulary, make sentences, not just memorize them. And please tell me how to read dictionary when there's additional. Yeah, dictionaries are challenging because it's designed for the native speakers. But I think the best way to use the dictionaries, especially in beginning or intermediate level, look at the dictionary form, right? And then you learn the grammar rules, like 어유, 아유, or past tense, or 을 거예요. And then you yourself make sentences using those grammar rules, the rules that you studied. 아빠 안녕. My dad is here. So, what was I saying? Yes, dictionaries. Look at the dictionary form at the beginning of your studying. Don't mind too much about other things. It'll give you some conjugation examples underneath. If you see different forms of it, just the endings changing, that's I really can't multitask, can I? That's conjugation tips. So you can look at those ones if you are curious about conjugation rules. You can also look at some example. If you see something that looks like sentence ending with period or question mark, that's examples. So you can use those examples to study the words within a context of an actual sentence. So dictionaries are a little tricky because it's not for the learners. So vocab, I think I am a teacher, but you guys are all experts in studying Korean. So if you want to share your vocabulary studying strategies and tips, please share with other people as well. Oh, mixing 반말 and 존댓말, non-polite and polite. Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? I think that's why we all start with yo form, because that's the safest ending. It's casual enough. You're not gonna sound like a soldier or news anchor, but it's casual enough to use with everyone, and you're not gonna sound too rude to the other person. And once you know that 어유 form, if you drop yo, basically it becomes non-polite, right? So then you can use to friends. So start with, again, for beginners, where do I start? Start with this 어요 form. And polite is yo. And I have a video, I'll link it in the description. Start with this present tense. And then once you know this, past tense comes right after this as well. So start with this if you haven't, okay? Writing formal, speaking formal. 여러분, did you watch my video about plain speech level? Plain speech level. In the thumbnail, you see the record of youth drama, least polite level. This is what you use when you're writing formally in Korean. When you don't have a specific audience, you use this 다 form. And you use this form between friends. So if you haven't watched Record of Youth, I recommend to watch my video, and then you'll see clips from that show, because that show is about these friends in their 20s who are making their life, making their dreams come true. So they always talk in this plain speech level, which ends with 다. 맛있다. 예쁘다. Or I'm gonna go 간다, that 다 form. Or let's do something. 하자, 가자, 먹자. All that is plain speech level, non-polite, that you use to your close friends who are around the same age. So watch that video and then watch Record of Youth if you wanna get exposure to this plain speech level extensively. I recommend that drama for that purpose specifically. Should I talk in Korean a little bit? Do you want to test your listening? I see a lot is going on in the chat. Okay. 자, 여러분 안녕하세요. 제 이름 알아요? 선생님 이름 알아요? 몰라요? 제 이름은 이거예요. pronunciation 뭐예요? 한글 공부. 발음 뭐예요? 네, 재림이에요. 재림. 재림. 네, 재림. 영어에서 이상해요. 내 이름은 영어로 하면 이상해요. My name becomes really weird in Return of Jesus. 맞아요. It's different Chinese characters, but Second Coming of Jesus is the same pronunciation but different meaning in different Chinese characters. 재림이에요. 제 채널 이름이 Korean Dream with Jay 잖아요. 왜 Korean Dream with J일까요? 아, 너무 웃겨. It's just different Chinese characters. My name, Chinese characters, mean I am carrying the beads, like the jewel beads. But for that, the Chinese character is again coming down from the sky. 네, 맞아요. It rhymes with dream. But that was when I'll say this in English and then I'll say it in Korean so then you can practice listening. When I first came to the US to study English, which was 2005, every time I introduced myself, people couldn't pronounce my name, 재림, right? So I anglicized my name, Jerim. That's how I spell it, Jaerim. So Jerim, and it's hard for people to pronounce it because it's different. So I said it's like dream, but with J instead of D, and that's where it comes from. And people would go, "Oh, dream," and that was close enough. That's why. 처음에 미국에 왔을 때 미국 사람들이 제 이름을 잘 못 알아들었어요. 발음을 못했어요. 그래서 저를 소개할 때 제가 dream 같은데 D 말고 J예요 라고 이야기했었어요. 그래서 제 채널도 Korean Dream 근데 but with J 예요. 재미있어요? 감사합니다. So I gave up on giving my name at Starbucks or anything. So I'm just J. 요. 재밌네요. 프랑스 사람이에요. 반갑습니다. I think one of the things I really love after starting YouTube and Instagram is that I am meeting a lot of people from all over the world. 다른 나라 사는 사람들을 만나서 너무 좋아요. Are you young 꼰대 or old? I would like to think I'm not 꼰대 first of all, but if I am, I would like to think I'm young 꼰대, not old yet. To understand hearing Korean versus reading. Sometimes the pronunciation doesn't really match the spelling, right? And I know that was one of popular requests or questions, not just this time on Instagram or YouTube before. So I am thinking about doing a live with you with the pronunciation rules. So then, you are listening to me and then you can tell me if it's helping or not, so it's more interactive. So maybe another live session, we can do the pronunciation rules. I'll have to make a list of words that have exceptions or a very typical pronunciation rules and such. But I'll make a list, prepare a little for that, and then we can do live about pronunciation, I think. 어때요? What do you think? Would that be helpful? 발음 라이브. Yes, okay. 괜찮아요. Yes, 네. Write diary in Korean. 저녁 시간이 많아서 a lot of you are in evening time, right? Dinner time. I see. Yeah, I was thinking what time will be good to do live. A lot of you are in Western European time zone when I asked you on Instagram, and a lot of you are in Asia. So I figured I'll just wake up early and I'll do it around this time. So then, I mean, I'm missing out on West Coast of the US because it's really early there. 이름, 감사합니다. So if I do around this time, is this a relatively good time for everyone? 이 시간 괜찮아요? 제 비디오 좋아해요? 감사합니다. 괜찮아요? 네. 괜찮아요? 오케이. 네. 좋아요. 9:35? Are you on the East Coast? 이 시간 정말 좋아요? 좋아요. I was just thinking it's really hard to go over the questions because I think this is the first time I'm doing live and I've kind of known a lot of you for a while at this point through Instagram and YouTube. So it's more like we're catching up. 수다 떨어요. We're just chatting. Which I am enjoying. I don't know if it's helping you guys. 필리핀 10시 35분. 괜찮아요? It's okay? 인디아 8시. Another thing I thought about doing live is numbers. With time and age and dates. So today, I guess we'll just catch up. 인사하고 수다 떨고 제가 okay, so real quick, the most popular questions were the tenses. Are there many tenses in Korea? What are the present and past tenses? What are the most important conjugation or tenses to learn? So that and also 은는 versus 이가 were the most commonly asked questions. Large numbers. I am awful. I don't know if it's a language problem or just my math brain, but I'm awful in both Korean and English. So, 있는 이가 and present tense, I have videos already. So once live is over, in the description, when I save this, I'll link those videos. Okay? And future live sessions, when it's not the first time and we're not catching up crazy, I will go over the most commonly asked questions or the topics that needs practice, so live session helps more. We'll do this, I guess, regularly, and don't worry if I'm not answering your questions today. Niece. I hope so. I haven't met my niece yet. 제 조카를 아직 못 만났어요. 너무 보고 싶어요. 너무 귀여워요. I'm like replaying her videos day and night. 계속 봐요, 계속. 아침에 일어나면 나은이 비디오. 여덟 시 7분이에요. 네, 인도에는 or 인도는 Thanksgiving 진짜 많이 먹었어요. I ate so much. I could almost puke. Tips for learning specific from Korean news. Korean news도 I think one of the challenges for the news is they speak really fast because there's a lot of information. Patreon. 네, I am also thinking about opening a Patreon account too. So when you watch news, nowadays all the news channels have their YouTube as well. So turn on the closed caption and look at the Korean subtitles and see exactly what they are saying. That might be the first step to get the better understanding of the contents. And a lot of it is probably advanced vocabulary. 여러분 감사합니다. I'm reading your comments and it's so full of love. 저 언제 결혼했어요? 저는 2018년에 결혼했어요. Write this down if you understood. 2018년에 결혼했어요. Yes, Korean use vocab's whole new language even for Koreans. Kids can't understand. You have to learn. 네, 맞아요. 2018년에 결혼했어요. 좋아요. 네, good job. 2018년 7월에 결혼했어요. I know a lot of 7월, 네, July. I know I'm missing out on a lot of comments right now. I'll read them afterwards, don't worry. At numbers, you're bad at numbers? You're with me. 저도요. So when I count money, and it goes above like million won, and I have to convert it into dollars, when it goes high, I still have to write down zeros. 하나, 둘, 셋, 넷, 다섯. So you're not alone if numbers are challenging. 여러분, 한국어 어떻게 배웠어요? 학교에서 배웠어요? 혼자 공부했어요? 독학했어요? Did you learn Korean in school, like taking classes in college or so, or did you study on your own? On your own? I think then a lot of people are studying on your own. On your own, okay. So we talked about watching Korean shows or YouTube channels and stuff, right? Earlier 독학하고 있어요. 많은 분들이 독학해요. A lot of you are studying on your own. So we talked about using the resources like Talk to Me in Korean, other YouTube channels, Instagram accounts, watching Korean shows and dramas, listening to music, using an app. Oh yeah. 혼자 배워요? 혼자 공부해요? On your own, by yourself? 2시에 자요? You go to bed at 2? Children's song. Actually, that's a good idea too. Children's song, children's talking. It's shorter. It's not as fast or complicated as an adult. So that is actually a good idea too. App. Do you have app recommendation for other people? Okay, so when you're studying, because there was one question about how do I practice speaking? How do I get good at speaking in Korean? And I think one of the things is you talk to yourself. I mean, if you have a Korean friend, awesome, that's the best. But if you, baby shark, if you are on your own and you don't have a Korean friend to practice Korean regularly with, then just talk to yourself. You know, you're cooking, 이렇게 자르고, 이거 넣고, 맛있다. You might look like a crazy person, but you are in your own place. Who cares? Right? So your parents. If you have parents, friends, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, use them. Talk to them in Korean. 앱이 많아요. I think you are probably way better with apps than I am. That's what you do? 네. Talk to yourself. 혼잣말 하세요. 혼자 말하세요. My daughters. If you have anybody, it doesn't have to be a native speaker of Korean. If you have Korean learners around you, just make it a rule that you talk to each other in Korean. If it's too difficult, not all the time, but you know, set some time and you guys talk to each other in Korean. Use people around you. And when you are commenting to me, comment in Korean as well. Duolingo. 많이 써요. I see a lot of people use that. K-pop friend. Good idea. 좋은 생각이에요. 네, 주위 사람들, people around you, 주위 사람들하고 한국어 하세요. 안녕히 가세요, 애나 씨. 와줘서 감사합니다. Thank you for coming here. And then if you don't have those friends around you, talk to yourself. Writing also, practice makes perfect, right? So the more you speak, the better you'll get. The more you write, the better you'll get too. For writing, again, you use different ending and you also use different particles too sometimes. So I'll make a separate video about that. Okay. So, okay, how many of you are here? Let's see. I think having, I kicked the tripod. I think having fellow learners around you is a good thing. People always think about having a native speaker to practice with, right? But realistically, let's say I'm planning to go to Korea next year. 안녕하세요. 지수 씨? Were you my student at Penn State? People think about native speakers first. 반가워요. He was my student a few years ago. But let's say if you are going to go to Korea to study Korean, and what people dream about is, I'm gonna make Korean friends. I'm gonna talk to my Korean friends in Korean all the time, which in reality doesn't really happen, right? If you've studied abroad for anything, you know this. your friends are mostly other friends who are also studying Korean or who are in Korea studying other foreigners, 외국인이에요. But which was a case for me too when I was studying English in the US. I had a roommate who was American, who's still my good friend. But I had a lot of friends from other countries that were there to study English. But you speak in Korean to each other. You speak in English to each other, whatever language you're learning. So having that learner community is really helpful because, you know, it's fun. Like we're speaking Korean to each other. So you do that with your friends. That's one thing. And like sharing information like you are right now about the apps, about the shows, about the classes, having other people who are also learning the same thing as you get informations about it. So don't just think about, oh, I want to talk to Korean, but make friends who are like somebody mentioned earlier, who are big fans of K-pop or who are also studying. 맞아요. 유튜브, 인스타그램, 웹사이트, 드라마, K-pop, 예능, 버라이어티 쇼, 친구, friends. 선생님, 저한테 한국어로 쓰세요. Write in Korean to me if you can. Any questions right now? I know I'm not going over questions. I'll take care of them. Why did I study Korean linguistics in the US? Right, good question, right? So my BA, bachelor's degree, is also in Korean. It was Korean linguistics and literature because they're always together in Korea. And then I studied English in the United States for a year. And I loved my teacher. I loved being with other people from other countries. And I was like, oh, maybe I want to do this for the rest of my life. I love it. I love traveling. In college too, speaking in front of mirror, 좋아요. Good idea. In college too, when I go through my transcript, 한국 시를 좋아하는 미국 친구가 많이 없어요. Korean poem. Do you guys like Korean poem? If I make more videos about Korean poem, would that help you? 마음에 들 것 같아요? Do you think you'll like it? So I came here and studied English and I loved it. Yes, poem, yes, 네. And then I decided to teach Korean as a second language. And back then, it wasn't as popular or as big of industry yet. And so I studied second language studies about how people use and learn second languages. So that's like kind of applied linguistics, but focusing on not mother tongue, but additional languages that people use in the world. And then I continued and going back to Korean linguistics, focusing on Korean, so then I teach Korean. So I wanted to teach Korean to non-Koreans. That's why. And why did I come to the US? 왜 미국에 왔어요? 사촌이 있어요. I have cousins here, and my dad felt safer sending me here. 아빠 때문에. 아빠가 무서워해서. And it was helpful. My cousins helped me a lot when I first came here. So that's why. And I think, you know, in a way, if you like something, you could make career out of it or lifestyle out of it. I think that's what I did. You have to learn Spanish? Sí. I actually learned, I just don't remember. Yo sé español, un poquito. 김치 꽁찌찜에서 보임. 그게 뭐야? So about the poem, nail art guy님. It's a fun account. Account name I meant. He really likes Korean poem, and when I made Korean poem video, I wasn't sure how many of you would like that because it's not, K-pop or drama. So I was a little nervous, but I see there are people who are interested in Korean poem and or literature. So I will make more. 더 만들게요. If you have request for a particular poem, please let me know too. 좋아하는 시 있으면 저한테 말해주세요. 댓글에 써주세요. Leave in the comments. Then we can study that poem first. So, actually, here are my promise for future videos from your requests. Goblin poem? Goblin poem이 있어요? Is there a poem in Goblin? 뭐지? 네, 동주 슬퍼요. It's really sad. 근데 좋은 영화예요. It's a good movie. 네, 가블린 드라마 좋아해요. 공유 좋아해요. 근데 poem? Goblin poem? Is there a poem in Goblin? So, here are future video promises. I'll look it up. There were questions about non-modifying form, 은는 plus 거. 좋아하는 게 뭐예요? What do you like? Or 뭐 하는 거야? What is the thing you are doing? What are you doing? So that conjugation rule, I will make a video. And similarly, there was a question about 던 plus noun, about things I used to do. I'll make a video about that. And tourism related video. That's gonna be 오? 혜은이야? 양혜은이야? I'm speaking in dialect if anybody noticed, because I just saw my childhood friend's name. 김소월의 진달래꽃 할게요. Okay. 노래도 있어요. There is a song about with that exact same lyrics as well. So I'll do that. But I just saw my childhood friend's name. So tourism related video. Actually, I was gonna do that because we were supposed to go to Korea this October to meet Naoni, but we couldn't. We decided not to with the pandemic and quarantine, and Naoni's too young and stuff. So I will make sometime in spring, maybe, when we are hopefully able to travel again. I'll make it, definitely. The tourism related or must know phrases before you going to Korea and stuff. 으니까 versus 어서 와서. They are both for reasoning. I will make a YouTube video about it as well. Somebody asked, I have to write this. 대요 versus 대요. This 대요, I have a video, so I'll link it in the description when I save live. This 대요, if you are here, it's when you are saying I heard somewhere, I heard from somebody. It's called hearsay. You're quoting what other people said. That's this 대요. Okay, so I'll make a video about this one. Okay. And there were questions about certain phrases like 빠지다, fall in love, 사랑에 빠지다. Or what's the difference between 알겠어요, I got it, and 알았어요, I got it, to and. What's the difference between 하고, 이랑, or 과와, 찾아보다, to look into it, and 찾아내다, to find it. So these ones I'll also make Instagram posts for the ones that I can make a short video about. But if it needs more explanation, I'll make YouTube video coming weeks. Okay? If I don't, then I'll reply to your comment. 괜찮습니까? 괜찮아요? Checking my notes to see. Oh, it's been over an hour. 1시간이 넘었어요, 여러분. 오늘은 이렇게 하고, you wanna be a Korean teacher? I'll read your comments again and I'll reply to you. 오늘은 이렇게 하고, let's just say hi today. I'm sorry, I didn't really go over any of the questions. 음으로, because yes, that's most formal way to say reasoning. So writing. And I guess I'll do live more regularly. And then I will go over specific topics and make it more like a lecture or class, but make it more interactive to see your comments and reaction to. So I will go over the noun modifying forms and reasoning ones, pronunciation, most popular 은는 versus 이가, and present and past tense sometime soon. What faculty did I graduate? What schools? Is that what you're asking? 그 대요 배웠지만 정말 기억이 없어요. You learned but you don't remember. 아니, 야. My former student saying he learned but he doesn't remember. Imperative in Korean. Oh, another thing, this is really easy. Somebody asked, 학교에 가요, go to school, right? And how do you make 쌤 예쁘다, 아빠예요, this is my dad. So, 학교에 가요, how do I make a question? Question is what you get for free in Korean, right? Unlike a lot of other languages, you just 제임스님 안녕하세요. You just raise the intonation, and that's a question. That's it. 학교에 가요. I'm going to school. 학교에 가요. Are you going to school? And imperative, somebody mentioned it too. Imperative, unless you learn this plain speech level, which is so not polite. You don't want to use it to anybody but your really close friends who are younger than you, basically. 동생. Not even 언니, 오빠, 누나, 형. You still use this 어아요 form to friends. 가, go, 안녕, 먹어, eat. Or 으세요 form. Please eat or please sit down. Please go. 안녕하세요. 안녕히 가세요. That form you use for imperative command. So I think in terms of sentence type, Korean's easier. You don't have to change a lot about the grammar. 이세요 or 으세요. Let me. which you see in a lot of greetings. 안녕히 가세요. That's literally saying, please go well. Please sit down. 앉으세요. Please study. 공부하세요. That's imperative. Cute endings. Oh, yeah. So you've probably seen people saying, 어떤 대학교? Which school did I graduate from? Was what you were asking. For my bachelor's, it was 서울대학교, Seoul National University. For my master's and PhD, it was University of Hawaii at Manoa. So people will say, oh, you studied in Hawaii? I did other things too, but I studied too. You probably see people saying things like, 귀엽당, 예쁘당, or 예뻐요, 귀여워요. 하와이예요? 오? So that cute endings is what a lot of people are doing. What's that question mark for? To be cute. 애교예요. 애교. Aloha. So in KakaoTalk or messaging, you'll see people putting that 이응 underneath or 미음 underneath to be cute or friendly. 이세요 is the 으세요 form of 이다, to be. So 한국 사람이다, to be a Korean person. When you say I am Korean, 한국 사람이에요, right? But if you're asking or if you're talking about somebody older than you or higher than you, you'll say 한국 사람이세요. 저희 부모님은 한국 사람이세요. My parents are Koreans. Duh. So that 이세요 is the part of the conjugation, 으세요 conjugation. 아니요, for cutesy endings, you can use with 요. You can put underneath 요, like 용 or 용. Or you can say 감사합니다. I got it. I understood. 알겠어요. Oh, your teacher can't spell. Can't type. 알겠어요. Or 알겠어요. So everyone, this is how you do 애교 or cute stuff with typing in Korean. People sometimes say it too. 알겠어. 알았어. 안녕하세요, 아라쌤. She's also a YouTube teacher, Korean YouTube teacher. Korean 알아? 한국어 알아? And she also has online tutoring service as well. Go subscribe to her too. I'm getting my master's in English. Caesars. Oh, I can't spell Caesars either. And I hate the words that have S and C together. Can we just have one? Any verbs, any adjectives. You can be cute. You can be cute with anything in Korean. So, any questions? I know there are a lot of questions that I didn't cover, but again, I'll make a video, both on YouTube and Instagram about them. But I think it's been 70 minutes. 70분 지났어요. A lot of you probably have to go to bed soon too. It's the competition. 이건 competition이야. This is competition. competition 아니에요. You don't have one Korean teacher. You have multiple Korean teachers. You know, even when you're taking classes, you have multiple teachers. And I do think different teachers offer different strengths, and teachers have strengths and weaknesses too. Jessie, come on, Jessie, come on. So 5 in the morning. So yeah, what was I saying? Why I really am bad with this reading and talking at the same time. But yeah, so some teachers are better at certain things and some teachers are better at other things. And I do think students benefit more when you have different types of teachers. 선생님들도 잘하는 거 장점이 있고 잘 못하는 거 단점이 있어요. 그래서 많은 선생님이 있으면 좋아요. It's good if you have lots of different teachers. 한글, reading, study. Study Hangul pronunciations first and read the song lyrics or what you see on social media daily, what you are interested in. Read them in Korean. 항상 재미있게 도와주셔서 감사합니다. 여러분, 저 너무 감사해요. I'm really thankful for a lot of you or all of you who are, you know, both on my Instagram and YouTube. I really appreciate your support. 잼스님? 아니요, 서울대에서 학사예요, 학사. BA. UHM에서 석사랑 박사예요. So, I think I need to get used to this live thing where I am reading the chat and also talking to you at the same time. 네, 저는 하와이 살았었어요. So I lived in Hawaii for 6 years. I just saw somebody who was in Hawaii as well. That was not easy because Hawaii is so expensive and as a graduate student, you have no money. 유학생은, 유학생 is the international students. 유학생은 돈이 없어요. 그런데 하와이는 너무 비싸요. 그래서 힘들었어요. But I loved going to the beach, hiking. I was really dark in Hawaii. I think I was like, I don't even know. 스팸, 무수비 좋아해요. 스팸 좋아해요. Korean dish, 고추장찌개 있어요. There's like spicy 고추장찌개. I think I posted on Instagram or shared on story. But you put spam in there too. 맛있어요. And Korean army soup, 부대찌개. 스팸 들어가요. 좋아해요. But not by itself. So, yeah, so I lived in Hawaii studying, and I loved going to the beach and hiking and doing stuff outdoor. And then I taught at Penn State. Can you imagine the drastic change in the temperature? 너무 추웠어. 진짜 추웠어요. 겨울 옷이 없었어요. I didn't have any winter clothes after living in Hawaii for 6 years. So mom and dad bought me a lot of winter clothes. 엄마 아빠가 겨울 옷을 사줬어요. That's another thing. I have a lot of tour guides in the future. 아니요, 선생님. Korean teachers are having trouble communicating in Korean. 아니요, 펜스테이트 추웠어요. 하와이는 안 추웠어요. Yeah, so I taught at Penn State. 그쵸? 지수 씨, 원지슈, he was my student at Penn State. 너무 추워요, 거기. 너무 추웠어. Yeah, and then I taught at Princeton for 2 years, and then now I'm not teaching anywhere. 미안해요. 괜찮아요, 선생님. So yeah, here I am, and it was scary to do live because live is live, but I figured something more interactive will be good, especially a lot of you. I feel like I've known you already for several months, and it's time that we actually interact. So I will do this regularly. Okay, 저 배고파요. I'm hungry. Because I usually don't eat until like 11. 오? 잼스님 진짜? 뭐 공부하셨어요? What did you study? So I usually eat around 11 a.m. I do intermittent fasting because I can't work out much. So I thought I should, regulate how I eat. And now I'm getting hungry. 배고파지고 있어요. 밥 먹어야 돼요, 여러분. And a lot of you will probably have to go to bed soon. Oh, Flagship. I taught at Flagship as a tutor, and I was an instructor one semester too. Flagship에서도 가르쳤어요. 쌤 식사하세요. That's my dad again. 저희 아빠예요. 그래서 여러분, 저 밥 먹으러 갈게요. I'm gonna go eat. 오늘 너무 감사합니다. 저는 재미있었어요. I had fun. Even though I didn't go over your questions, I'll take care of them. Don't worry. So, you'll get your answers. I mean, what? You'll get your questions answered. 선생님 감사합니다. 네, 저도 감사합니다, 여러분. 쌤 아버님 반갑습니다. So, 아시아에 계시는 분들 좋은 밤 되세요. If it's night time. 안녕하세요, 아버님. If you're in Asia, have good night. 하와이에 계시는 분, 미국에 계시는 분, 좋은 하루 되세요. 유럽에 계시는 분들, 좋은 저녁 되세요. 중동, Middle East, 중동에 계시는 분들도 좋은 저녁 되세요. Have good evening, everyone. 너무 감사합니다. And I will answer your questions. I promise. 약속해요. 지수 씨도 안녕. 아빠 안녕. 주아 안녕. Breakfast. 네, 아침 드세요. Go eat your breakfast. 저도 아침 먹을 거예요. I'll go have my breakfast. 그러면 You're very welcome. 천만에요. 저도 감사합니다. 그러면 우리는 다음 주에 I will upload regular video next week, but I'll do this again maybe the following week or so with a particular topic to go over. 오늘은 Nice to meet you였어요. 인사였어요. 그럼 안녕히 계세요, 여러분. 안녕. 네, 밥 맛있게 먹을게요. I'll enjoy my meal. When am I gonna say bye? And bye. 안녕. 이거 어떻게 끄죠? Okay, how do I end this? 여기. 안녕.